Good evening. Today is August the 14th. What I'm going to be talking about is what is obedience. Romans 5:19 tells us, for as by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. So you have to examine, how obedient are you to God's direction on how to speak, how to act, or how to treat others are you? Consider Christ's crucifixion is the perfect example of obedience to God. How many times have you heard someone complain because the service ran over what they felt was adequate for God's glory, or they had their feelings hurt by what was preached in the service? My suggestion is they need to examine their hearts and motives, whether it's of God or of the world. We need more teaching and preaching on obedience and the consequences of not being obedient when it's all over. Are you going one of two places? You are going one of two places. You're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. That's it. It's not multiple choice, and it's going to be depending on your relationship with God. It requires a personal relationship and being obedient to God's commandments. 1 John 5:3 of the New King James says, "For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not burdensome." They're not hard. Where we'll come into resistance is when we start doing God's will and following the path He has for us. The enemy's going to come against that because he doesn't want you staying in line with God. He wants to break you off from that so that he can claim you as his own. Acts 5:29. But Peter and the other apostles answered when they were brought before the religious rulers for preaching on Jesus. They answered that we ought to obey God rather than man. See, they'd been ordered not to say or not to preach or teach on that anymore. But they weren't going to stop because they were obeying God. And that's what obedience is. The religious leaders want to keep you just as aligned as the devil does with their rules and what they feel is right, instead of following what's right in the Word of God. So, I pray blessings over each and every one of you. I love you, and I will talk to you Monday. Bye.